Geri Rinschler, who is the Vice President of Community Engagement and Marketing for the League of Women Voters, Oakland area. Geri, thank you for being with us today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Well, yeah, thank you for being with us. How are you? How's your team at the League of Women Voters, Oakland area?
Well, this is busy season. Prior to a primary, I think the two cornerstones of our league, the League of Women Voters, Michigan, as well as Oakland County, is providing information to voters, making it nonpartisan and accessible, whether it's, where do you go to vote, when. Right now, we're looking at sharing information because we're going to have an extraordinary number of folks voting absentee, likely for the very first time. And what we're hearing from the clerks in the county is the percentages they're expecting in the August primary, as well as November. The applications that are coming in for those ballots range from 70% to 90% higher than what they've seen in the past. So we're working as hard and quickly as we can because ballots are in the mail. I know one of our members received their ballot yesterday. So they should be distributed this week in Oakland County.
We have primaries coming up. We also have the general election in November, and your organization does help to prepare the community for those elections. One of the key ways, one of the cornerstones of that preparation, those materials that you provide, are these candidate forums for local elections. Go into a little bit, tell us a little bit about what those candidate forums are, what the League of Women Voters Oakland area offers in terms of these, and where people can get this information.
Sure. Well, prior to COVID years, we would do in-person candidate forums in contested races. We really don't have a large enough staff to do a public candidate forum for all the 60 plus municipalities, and then we've got 28 school districts in the county. And so we do try to reach as many of those as possible. When we realized we could no longer meet in person, we thought long and hard, and we did decide to do them in a Zoom format. So if you were to go to our website, wvoa.org, you can click on the link on the front page, and it will bring up all the forums that we've completed in the month of June, and then also give you a schedule for the two that we're doing in July, and we've already got one scheduled for September. So first time for us, although we have done in-person candidate forums for probably 30, 40 years in this part of the county. It seems to be working well. Our only disappointment is some candidates, a minority of them, are not comfortable with Zoom. And hopefully, as we get closer to November, we will find that this has certainly become part of everyone's life right now, that we'll have a really great turnout. So we are doing that, but at the same time, we do have another committee that distributes a questionnaire to anyone who's running for office in the primary, and those running for office in November will receive one also, with questions that are written for those specific communities by our members, our nonpartisan volunteer members, and there's a limited number of words. So if you go to our website, or the one thing we are really trying to promote is something called vote411.org. You go to that site, put in your zip code, and you should be able to see a copy of the ballot, the primary, as well as later on for November.
Geri Rinschler with us, the Vice President of Community Engagement and Marketing for the League of Women Voters, Oakland area. So Geri, in terms of these candidate forums, what do they provide to voters that they wouldn't otherwise get in terms of their own research or other interactions with the candidates?
Well, again, with COVID, candidates really don't have the opportunity to go door knocking, to meet all their constituents on a daily basis. And if you were to talk to any political consultant advising candidates, I mean, I've been assisting with these for quite a long time. The number one advice that a political consultant will give to any candidate is the way to win the race is to door knock. And so that's really not available to them. So this way, they will have that opportunity to actually see the candidate on camera. So these are being recorded as we've done in the past, and also will be distributed through cable, but you can view those online, as well as the responses from the candidates. So those responses for the primary candidates are already there. So you get two opportunities. And I should give a plug for our paper voter guides, which hopefully you've seen in the past. We distribute them to our clerk's offices and the libraries, and sometimes some other public facilities such as senior centers. And our hope is that we've got enough funds in our bank account to be able to print those. And we're going to be collaborating with another organization to make that happen. So everything we do is really based on donations and our membership dues.
Politics right now seem to be so polarizing in our community. Do you think that's going to increase voter turnout or decrease it?
I'm guessing a couple things. I know, as we have all been concerned about polarization, I'll speak for myself, as I have been. But I think COVID is also playing a part. I think folks have more time now to read about candidates. They're certainly seeing protests and conversation about democracy, and the way to make change is to vote. So, our slogan has always been, and one of our past presidents, Jerry Burton, always will repeat it. I think he even has a t-shirt that says it, that democracy is not a spectator sport. And that's something we put on some of our literature and repeat. So I think also the third part of the answer would be, since our state did, and our constituents in the state, our voters, did support changes to voting laws, where now anyone can apply to get, who's registered, can apply to get a absentee ballot sent to their home. So before, there was a restriction. You had to declare whether you were out of town, whether, and you needed to be above, I believe it was 60 years of age. So I think we've got a couple of things going on here that are all contributing to voter turnout, which is a really good thing. It's something we've been advocating since we were founded 101 years ago.
Geri Rinschler with us. She is the Vice President of Community Engagement and Marketing at the League of Women Voters, Oakland area. So in terms of the format of these candidate forums, are these simple question and answer? Is it
Yes.
statements from each candidate? Is there any
Yes.
public involvement in them?
We do have a way to send questions in advance. So they're not doing a full screen of voters being able to have that personal exchange. But there are ways to send questions in. And some of our league members are providing some of those questions. Usually our league members who are the most familiar with a certain part of the county and are following the challenges that are going on in specific municipalities will write questions as well. So, and they've always done that, even when we met in person. If we didn't have enough of the public sitting in the audience, you know, we would always have some backup questions, as we used to. If you've attended any, know that we would always hand out a 3x5 card and pencils. You know, please put your question on a piece of paper. So it's a little different. It's working well, and yes, we are giving them time. The other thing that we have found, if someone has a conflict, we're allowing them, or for whatever reason they can't get on Zoom, we're allowing them to send in a statement that our facilitator reads. And so we have a number of different folks facilitating the different forums right now.
Geri Rinschler with us. She is the Vice President of Community Engagement and Marketing at the League of Women Voters Oakland area. Geri, you are also one of the founding members of the Women Officials Network Foundation. What does that organization do? What functions does it serve, and who can get involved?
Well, it's interesting. If you look at both organizations, we are similar. We're both nonpartisan. We're both membership organizations. But the difference is with the Women Officials Network, which was started back in 1997 by former State Representative Pan Godchow and a league member, Barb Morehouse, who really were concerned about the low numbers of females serving in Congress, but more specifically in Lansing. And so a number of us sat down at their invitation to come up with some bylaws and design a format. And it started with women who were elected to office or had previously been elected to office. So now we have expanded that to anyone who'd like to join us. And we have a few male members. We try to encourage more members from that gender to join us and support women. So our goals are to provide a network of support to women, but also help them as leaders in the public sector. So usually we change the months that we have open meetings to the public. And those are generally September, December, March, and June. We most of the time invite speakers who will share information either in the way of giving advice to someone who's running for office or sharing an experience of what their struggles were and challenges when they were out in the field knocking doors or trying to get elected. And we also really look to support those women who have run and were not successful. So we're bringing folks together. There is a membership fee, although you don't need to be a member to attend. And right now we're doing those free, as they are going to be Zoom meetings. And in conversation with our new president, Nancy Philippart, we think we're going to be planning Zoom meetings for quite a while, at least through December. So we're just at the beginning of putting together some speakers. I happen to also be the program chair for that organization. And it's really been successful as we're still here celebrating our, we did have a 25th celebration not too long ago. But the one thing that is really a positive experience for all of our members is we really don't talk about politics when it comes to partisan politics. It's generally off the table. When we invite a panel to speak, we make sure if they're affiliated with one party, we invite someone from the other party. And we've been holding steadfast on that. We have been fortunate over the years to have our Michigan Supreme Court justices present to us. Last year, we had female mayors in Oakland County do a presentation and share with us what their life is like. And sometimes mayor of a government board of mostly males. So it's really a sharing, bringing together folks. As if you look at the numbers, we're starting to make some progress, but the percentages of women elected to office at the state level is quite low.
Geri, one last question for you. Mail-in ballots have become such a hot topic issue.
Yes.
Do you feel this is going to open up elections to fraud? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, that is interesting. Let's see, last year, we co-sponsored a panel where Tina Barton, who is the clerk from Rochester Hills, and also she's a liaison to a committee in Washington, D.C. that has been investigating fraud. One of the other things I've been fortunate to do is I was appointed to an Oakland County Election Advisory Council, and we've been meeting weekly for a lot of reasons. One of them is to find out what the needs are of the clerks in Oakland County. So we've got the clerks from Rose Township, Ferndale, Royal Oak, and Lathrop Village. So different size municipalities with different needs. I feel very comfortable that the county is taking all the necessary steps to make sure that these are all counted and safely counted in a timely fashion. And the one thing that we are concerned about is getting that message out so that the voters do feel confident. I'm not worried. I don't think anyone on our council is worried about fraud. The biggest component of concern or message that we'd like to get to the voters, because of COVID, you've all noticed our mail is not coming in quite the timely fashion it had been. So voters, if they're planning to mail those back in, they really should not wait till the day before, because those AVs are counted once they get to the clerk.
Right.
And there's confusion about the postmark. So those are some of the things our league is trying to get information and share. And I know the county is putting together an ad. We're working on some postcards from the League of Women Voters, but those will be distributed closer to the November election.
Well, we'll stay right on top of this, Geri, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to you again before those elections occur. We do have to let you go now. We have one more person right behind you, so we thank you for being with us today.
Well, I sure appreciate the opportunity, and stay well.
You as well. Thank you very much. Geri Rinschler with us on the Oakland County MegaCast.